time to squeeze us into your schedule today. Bro, we are 30, flirty, and quite honestly, mostly just trying. So if you are too, boo, then this is the right podcast for you. Today we are unpacking our fatherless behavior. We're gonna share our lore on our mommy/daddy issues. We're gonna discuss how childhood experiences can shape who we are today, how these wounds sneak into our adult lives and relationships, and what healing looks like when our parents are still, well, a lot. So, grab your wine and cafecito, let's get comfy, and let's talk about things that we should probably be saving for our therapists.
I'm so fucking tired.
Oh, it hurts to laugh.
When is it not real? But honestly.
But honestly, today we're fucking tired.
Yes.
All right, let's start whining. Today we are drinking a wine that one of my besties brought me whenever I turned 31. Yes, it was a birthday present. It's a Stella Royale. We all know her. We all love her. A good classic and go-to. And we had been saving this bad boy for a day
a rainy day
when we knew we were gonna forget.
And that day is today.
It's arrived. It took us exactly 4 episodes before we.
Hey,
listen.
That's not bad.
That's not bad.
Yeah.
That's not bad. I said that and then I was like, you know what? We're not even on episode 2. That's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
4 episodes before we fucked it up. That's nice. Go us.
Now we have to get a backup to replace the backup.
Oh, Lord, I know. The sad thing about this one is that it is only an 8%, 8% ABV. So Kenya did me dirty. I'm like, you can do no wrong in my eyes. Don't hate me.
Listen, as someone who's already dehydrated from last night,
yeah, considering the fact that we have both collectively probably had 5 hours of sleep, we probably don't need a higher ABV today. So this should be fine.
Take it easy.
Take it easy. It does contain sulfates, so here's to a hangover. But let's see if there's anything. Nope, just strawberries and red berries, and it's red wine. So I'm gonna open it.
We're just gonna go for it. While they are pouring the wine, I wanted to go ahead and disclose that we are recording our season finale early. The reason we're doing this is due to scheduling with our wonderful guests that I guess I should speak in past terms, that have had this season.
Yep, that's fair.
So we are filming our season finale early, and so Happy New Year, because this is going to be released in the new year, and happy early birthday to us, because we're going to be in January. So, yeah.
We should do a birthday special, friend.
We will have to
do a birthday special, and we'll release it. I don't think, I do want to, there's a lot of things that are going to be Patreon exclusives. Subtle drop about our Patreon, which we'll talk about more later.
This time, you have already joined Patreon.
Yeah.
But if you have not.
But I think our birthday special should be for the people, Yes. Let's do the birthday special for the fans.
Oh my God, we should do one of those, like a truth room.
Yes. Absolutely. This is so happening. Oh my God, I almost just spilled red wine on my great-grandmother's tablecloth. We're fine.
It's okay. Yeah.
Oh, that's right. Cheers. Sorry.
Cheers.
God, I'm just going straight to the drinking. Fuck, I forgot how sweet that was.
Yeah.
I was expecting dry, and I got alcoholic, sparkly, and sweet, and I was not ready. No, it's not that it's bad. It
catches you off guard.
Yeah,
I just not expecting that on the palate.
What kind of what is this anyway? I didn't even say what a Rosso.
It's a semi-sweet.
Bro, it literally says semi-sweet on the front. Yeah. I can't read. Wait, did we finish talking about the fact that this is the end of the season? We did, right?
Yeah, we did.
Yeah. We love you guys. Thank you for listening to us this entire season.
Yes.
We're excited for this to be the last episode because honestly, it's gonna be a shit show. It'll probably be a little long, so buckle up, kitty cats.
Buckle in.
And
but we have already started semi-planning for season 3, so we, tune in, keep up with the shenanigans on socials.
Season 3 is going to come sooner than season 2 did. Cross my pacemaker. And also, if season 3 is going to be on struggling with labels. We've done struggling with ourselves, struggling with others, and now we're covering struggling with labels. Because truly, there is something to be said about feeling identified in what defines you, because there's something to that community that comes with that as well. Yes. I don't know, there's a lot to unpack there. So we're very excited for season 3 and to talk about all the things, considering the fact that we both have several labels in our books, okay? We got labels on labels on labels. So
stay tuned. We'll definitely have some teasers following up.
Okay, so what is your wine? Let's do this.
Let's actually get to the wine. My wine for the week, it was, I think, a lot of anxiety following up to my son's appointment for the ABA therapy. Basically, they were going over the results with us, which is nothing negative. I think it was more so the anticipation, which had caused so much anxiety for me.
Absolutely.
And as a, if you have, for any parents out there who have a neurospicy child, it's obviously, I don't want to say it in a negative way, but it is an add-on. It's an add-on to parenting that not many can understand how tough it is to, any toddler has tantrums, talks back, so forth, whatever, but to have a neurotypical kid who you really have, they're trying so hard to communicate and they can't, and you're trying to do your best, and you see that there may be some delays in certain milestones that they should be having at that age, and it's hard not to beat yourself up or to think, what could have I've done differently, or, it's not the Tylenol, kids.
Well, I mean, and that's the thing. Ultimately, I'm like, okay, developmental stages that they should have been that they should have hit by whom standards, you know? Different cultures throughout different times have had different understandings of how brains work, and they're, some people were allowed to develop at a different rate than others because their brains work differently. That doesn't mean that they're behind, it just means that they're processing what they're getting differently. I think you and I have talked about this before, where obviously it's easier for me to say because I'm not the one in the position having to live through it. But it for me, it's one of those things where I'm like, he's not communicating right now, but that's not a bad thing, because right now he's not just absorbing 1 or 2, he's absorbing 3 languages. And when that kid is ready to talk, he's gonna pop all the way the fuck off, because he's so smart.
Oh yeah, and he's so smart and clever for his own good. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm not ready for him to be at his fullest, because I just know it's, I mean, I'm gonna obviously enjoy the process, and I'm going to love to see it, but I'm also like, oh my gosh, like, you guys are not ready for Naveed to be at his fullest potential.
I'm telling you, that kid, once he pops off, he is going to be a menace to deal with. He's going to be so smart. And I'm like, the expectations of neurotypical, like, culture that we put on kids, I mean, it makes sense. It makes sense that we beat ourselves up for it. We are one of the first generations actively acknowledging that we shouldn't just beat children because they don't listen to us, and that there is, like, there's a way to raise your kids where you can be there for them a little bit more, and patience goes a long fucking way. Pero, like, we are taught all of these other things, so, like, it makes absolute sense. We're fighting against what we know in our nature, but he's just developing at his pace, and that's not that's not ultimately a bad thing. And the things that he is missing out on, he doesn't care about, because he doesn't fucking know. Like, we put those expectations and those things on them. And of course, it's a little bit of a mourning of what we think of as a normal childhood. And I can only imagine what that's like to have to let go of. But I think we put a lot of expectation on kids sometimes, and sometimes we gotta let them cook. We gotta let them cook. Especially near spicy kids, because they once they're done cooking, goddamn, they're gonna go all the way off. Whether it's just on the color yellow or whether it's on engineering, like they're gonna go all the way off. You know, like
I believe it. Naveed, we always joke about it, but we call him like a little CEO. Because he just demands a room. Like every room he walks in, he just demands it.
I could see Naveed growing up to be some sort of like linguistics professor that like travels the world talking about languages, because his grasp on the alphabet in several different languages. Like, I mean, the fact that this kid's watching videos in fucking Russian, are you kidding me? He can't talk. That really sucks, and I'm sure that's very frustrating on communication. No, but he's watching the alphabet in Russian.
No, like, he talks. He talks in like his own phrases of stuff that he's heard like in videos and such. So it's definitely like he uses it in the right context too for most part, but if you were to ask him to repeat something, he doesn't always do it. He literally marches to the own beat of his drum.
I love that for him, honestly.
But honestly, like in the future, I'm hoping that he is still as strong-willed as he is, and he does some good with that. So
well, and honestly, the fact that you're even thinking about this, and that this is a struggle for you, and that it's not just he's a problematic kid that you have to deal with. That's good parenting, you know? Like, that's so much more than some adults are willing to give their kids. You guys are wanting to be there. He is going to be just fine, because he has you guys as his parents, and y'all are fucking amazing. Thank you. That's that. All right, well.
And sip.
And that's all I have to say on that.
All right, friend, how about you? What's your struggle of the week?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I kind of took over your struggle. I didn't mean to.
No, it's okay.
I know it is tough. Like, I can't imagine. Genuinely, I can't imagine.
Yeah, but, I mean, we're gonna hopefully go through it, but, we need to take care of some, like, insurance stuff, especially since it's already towards the end of the year, and they really expect you, like, hey, you either spend a few grand right up front, or you just wait for the new year for the whole out-of-pocket and deductible and all that bullshit. Like, don't even get me started on that. So we're gonna go ahead and move it on to you, because
she said, I actually don't want to talk about it.
I'm gonna go on a whole tangent, and so
she's about to go off on the American insurance system. Okay, honey. Like, she said, I don't want to get blacklisted over this today.
Exactly.
Don't want to get blacklisted today.
Don't even get me started.
Don't get me started. Well, my wine. What is my wine? The fact that I can't seem to sleep. The fact that I can't seem to motivate myself other than last minute when I have to get it all done. My wine is my existence in general this week. I'm lutealing so fucking hard. Is the tree? Yeah. Fuck. This is gonna be a long episode. Yeah, I'm lutealing this week, but I'm also ADHD in the sense that this was the last week before the episode aired. Yeah. So, of course, any of the tasks that were left over that needed to get done, that my ADHD was like, we can tackle this in a rush. I was like, now I have to do this in the shittiest of moods. And it was just, I did it, and I enjoyed it while I was doing it, but I also hated every second of it. I was like, oh, why am I like this? Cursing past Chris for not getting ahead of some of these things. This is also how I tell you on air that I don't know if you heard episode 1 already. As of the recording of this last episode, this is kind of funny actually how it's working out.
Yeah,
but
right.
We're recording the last episode today. Well, today premiered the first episode of season 2. So that's how
so
out of sync.
crazy.
Yeah, that's how out of sync we're filming this. But really, it was just we had to. We want to be the girlies that record things the week before they actually go out, but the truth is that we've got so much going on, and there's a potential for me to go back into an office as well now. So like it really does benefit us to batch these ahead of time. Sorry, they're not like as authentic as they could be or really as in real time as they could be. Hopefully that's something that we'll be able to work on in the future, but for right now that is what it is.
This is how we make it work.
This is how we're making it work.
You know, hopefully you guys stick around to continue to support us and go on this journey with us.
But honestly, how blessed are we? I can't with you. How blessed are we that I have the tickle in my in my chest. I'm trying to get past the giggles. Okay. How blessed are we that we have guests this season that we had to work around? Like, and not only, like, I mean, by the time this episode airs, y'all will have already seen the episode with Marilu. Yeah, the fact, I just, I love her so much.
Fangirling.
I'm such a fangirl. It's disgusting. I can't wait to meet her. Like, well, we've met, like, at an event in passing, like, lightweight, and, like, have seen each other. I've met her. I purchased from her at an event at Four Corners Brewery. She's met my husband. I don't think I've met her fiance yet. I don't know that I've met her at an event. But literally, like, every time I'm in front of her, I just, like... because for me, she's like a mythical creature, you know?
She's
like,
honestly the cutest.
She's a celeb.
Yeah, she's
like...
Dallas influencer,
yeah,
basically.
She's a little Dallas celeb, and honestly, like, no, because she's that girl. Like, I'm so obsessed with her and the fact that she agreed to be on this episode. Now I'm going into my sprinkles of joy. It doesn't matter. The point is that we're blessed to be able to have to film this shit out of sync. That's the point that I was getting to. I'm reeling the tangent back in. I'm not going to continue to expand on what I was saying, even though I have a lot more to say. Tangent over. Okay. Bringing it back to my, what was I?
Struggle.
I'm struggling. Yep.
Struggle. Because we're whining.
And I was whining about, it was a lot. This week was a lot, is the tea. I don't know what I was saying before I started talking about.
Well, getting all the things done the week, especially
there was
lutealing.
Oh, yeah. It was lutealing. Yeah. The point is,
listen, for it being your luteal phase, you got a lot of shit done.
Yeah, I was angry the whole time, but I did it. It was good. I'm glad the ADHD motivation pulled through, even though I was lutealing, you know?
Were you on the medication?
Yes,
okay.
Mostly.
I was like,
but thankfully, my choices from 2 weeks ago is what's affecting me today.
Okay.
So 2 weeks ago, Chris did set me up for success. This week's Chris is gonna make 2 weeks from now struggle a little bit. Long week, tired, grateful we did it. Boom, done.
Boom, done. Well, now that we have released those wines for now, and obviously we are heading into a pretty heavy topic. So what we want to do at this time is at least try to release the week that we've had and get into the present to get ready for this conversation. So
I'm so not ready for this conversation. Let's breathe.
Let's breathe. So let's go ahead and get comfy. You can go ahead and close your eyes if you can. And we're going to take some deep breaths. So we're going to take a nice big inhale. And exhale. Inhale. And exhale. One last one. Inhale. And exhale. All right, you can slowly blink your eyes. Wiggle your shoulders. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle your head. Whew. All right.
Let's try. I don't even begin to know how to start this topic because honestly, fuck. Like, for any family listening, don't get it twisted. Grateful. It's not that I'm not. I know they did a lot for me. Yes. However, mommy and daddy issues.
Mommy and daddy issues.
We've got them.
Yup.
Do you want to go?
I mean, I will gladly go first.
I mean, yeah.
TBH.
I mean, let's talk about. I feel like there's a few things that we commonly hear on social media, whether it's fatherless behavior, like we joked about on the intro, or boys having mommy issues and being little mommy's boys and all of these things. And it's so common for us to talk about not wanting to become our parents, but I feel like sometimes we don't really talk about the why or why this is a very real fear, why this fear oftentimes seems to come true. So yeah, Noelle, fatherless behavior, go.
Well, I think it's talking about how it's showing up in our lives, especially at this stage, because growing up, so just to give a little bit of my lore.
Yeah.
So for listeners who don't actually know me personally, or
we're spilling the tea today, y'all.
Yeah, so y'all are getting the juicy details. But anyways, for a bit of context, yes, I do have a biological father, but I also grew up with my stepdad, who is not my current stepdad. This is my ex-stepdad. So this is my mother's previous husband. And so from maybe, I think I want to say I was probably 4 or 5 was the last time I had saw my
No, nothing. I'm just getting my hand ready because I know you're gonna need it.
I appreciate it.
For those of you listening on the podcast, I'm just putting my hand on Nola's back because I have money that she's gonna start crying first.
And me thinking, oh, they have something to say.
No.
Like, let me pause.
No.
So at that time, my mom and my dad had separated because they were never married. I was a love child, so they
spicy.
So they separated. My mom got with my stepdad at the time, and I had very vague memories still of my dad at that time, so I was aware of him and who he was. I was also too young to understand why I just stopped seeing him all of a sudden, Yeah. So growing up with my ex-stepdad at that time was really, it was one of those things that at first they did everything to buy your affection.
Yep.
So he definitely, as a true narcissist, played the part of buying all the gifts, doing all the things. Love bombing, for sure, with my mother and I. And once they actually got married and we moved into our first home together is really when he revealed himself. He was definitely very abusive, narcissistic, like the whole nine, the worst possible human being you could ever experience. So during that time, obviously I had no connection to my biological dad. So I mean, it wasn't until I think I was 15 that after I turned 15 that I finally got in touch with my biological dad. And obviously going through all of these things with my trauma with my stepdad, I always thought like, oh, if only my mom stayed with my dad. Because obviously I didn't know anything about my dad. I had no clue what kind of man he was or why things didn't work out the way they did. You know, like, I had no idea.
A child's romanticized idea of what a dad could have been.
Exactly. Yeah. Because all I wanted as a child was to be loved by a fatherly figure. So, quinceañeras were so hard to go to because every time they did the father-daughter dance, I would bawl my eyes out. Like, I either had to step out of the room or I just had to, like, hide the fact that I was crying, which was so embarrassing. But, I mean, it's just something I always craved, watching certain movies that have, their dads, and knowing that I wasn't having that type of relationship with my dad was so hard. So I think this also affected my relationship with boys, essentially. I constantly craved and seeked attention from other boys, from other guys, from men even, and have put myself in not the greatest situations. So yeah, it's, and I hate the term daddy issues because in some senses, like, yeah, it's putting it on us of, like, what our behavior is like, but it's also, like, why is there no repercussions for the man for not being there for their child?
Why is the shame on you when he's the one that wasn't able to step up to the plate?
Yeah.
Why is the shame on you when he's the little bitch that walked out?
Exactly. So, yeah, it's just over the years, specifically in high school when I was very torn because obviously things were not working out anymore with my mom and my stepdad. Because obviously my mom had saw that I had enough because I had moved out of the house my senior year and lived with my best friend from high school at the time because I've had enough. Yeah. And I think my mom finally realized, okay, like, if she's able to leave and do like, I can also do the same. So they were finally going through their divorce. I was also experiencing my relationship with my dad reuniting, and I shared some stuff with him about the things that I had gone through as a kid, and his response is honestly kind of what changed the course of our relationship, because his response at that time wasn't even like a comforting response. It was more so like, well, I understand his point of view.
What the fuck?
And that right there was like,
knowing how horrible your stepfather was, what the actual fuck? Yeah.
So, and then that's when my mom started opening up more about, like, my dad and who he really was and who is also a narcissist. And it really started connecting the dots. And for me, it was a really hard pill to swallow because all I wanted was that relationship. All I wanted was to finally, like, my dad's around, I can have this relationship with him, and all of my problems with men will be solved. No, absolutely fucking not. God. So it's just it was so hard to process at the time, and I think over the years I was falling into the cycle of trying to make things work with my current dad, but also once my mom was divorced from my stepdad, it was a huge relief of, hey, we never have to deal with this man again. Yeah. But at the same time, I had no idea the things that I was going to experience through my 20s that I had to heal from because of everything that I endured in my childhood, or, I mean,
under his care.
So,
or lack thereof.
Yeah. So took lots of therapy, but at the same time, my excuse for many years, and because I couldn't take accountability for a lot of my behaviors at that time.
No.
So that's
hard.
It was always like, well, it's because my dad did this, or because I had this relationship with my dad, or I didn't have a dad, or that was always my excuse. But there came a time where I finally had to be like, no, I can't keep putting myself in this hamster wheel of excuses for my behavior, and how I am, and this is how my relationship with men is always going to be because of the things that I endured. So I finally, obviously it wasn't right away.
Yeah.
I had to learn how to get out of survival mode and finally do things for me that were going to benefit me and break that generational curse of toxic men that unfortunately my mom for the longest time had put herself in, And again, it's like I don't blame my mom for her poor taste in men. Yeah. It's gotten better. Obviously, my current stepdad is amazing. Love him.
Kudos to your mom for being able to find, and we will talk about this more later, but kudos to your mom for being able to find comfort in the uncomfortable, to find comfort in what's not normal for her, and to actually give herself that chance to be loved correctly and to be cared for. It's not common, especially after several instances of abusers, for victims to be able to actually choose themselves like that. The fact that she's able to do that, and at the age that she's in, yay!
Love that for my mommy.
We love that for her.
But yeah, I mean, that's kind of a little bit of a backstory. Obviously, there's much more, but that's kind of the backstory of my relationship with my dad. So yes, I was a huge slut in high school, to be real. And if you went to high school with me, and you're probably like, I knew it, fuck off. But
also, you're just mad that you couldn't, and we all know that's the fact. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
Listen, I talk to a lot of guys.
Who wouldn't talk to Noelle? That's the real question here. Y'all are all envious bitches. Fuck out of here.
But, and I will say this to defend my name, I did not sleep with all of them. Okay? Just because I did talk to a lot of guys and in sense hoard around that way, I did not sleep with all of them. So,
flirting with guys isn't whoring around. It's community service. Okay?
I was doing charity.
You were doing the Lord's work out here, okay? They weren't going to get that much attention from a pretty girl ever again in their lives. You were doing the Lord's work. Thank you.
Yeah. Fun times. Yeah.
Reckless behavior. So is it my turn? Fuck.
It is your turn, friend.
Okay, lore time. Let's do this. I have tried to think about how to simplify this.
I know, I simplified the shit out of that, but...
Yeah, I'm gonna do my very best. The tea is, I grew up in a home where as much as my parents had love for us individually, and they had love for each other, they also didn't know how to communicate anything in any sort of healthy manner. There were a lot of there were daily arguments in my household. I grew up in a household with a ton of daily arguments, just constant raising your voice over the smallest of things. Constant blaming each other, constant it's their fault, it's his fault. Constant if I said anything to that would be like, well, she's got a point or he's got a point. Constant, oh, well, you're on his side kind of thing. It was just very tumultuous. It was a lot to experience. And one of the biggest things that concurrently happened was the threat of leaving, of going somewhere else. And so now she's like, maybe they'll cry first.
My turn to put the hand
we're all betting on each other. Not us trying to make each other cry. Fuck. Tell me your siblings without telling me your siblings. Like, quiere llorar. We immigrated to the States when I was 9. What I didn't know at that point, because my dad had been here for a year prior, and as far as I knew, he was working here to be able to provide for us back home, because we were still one happy family. Incorrect. They had already separated. When we moved here, I guess they had gotten back together, but not really. Their relationship my entire life was very on and off. Any fight that ever happened, it was off, and then it was on again, and then it was off, and then it was on again. So once we got here, we immigrated to Miami, where my grandparents had been living. But my dad, since he had come here a year before us, he was in Texas working for his childhood best friend. And I ended up moving to Texas with my dad because I fell in love with Texas, which is hysterical to me. And my mom ended up following suit because she wanted to be with me, even though her parents were in Miami and my eldest sister was in Miami. I think my eldest brother at the time was also in Miami. All of her siblings were in Miami. She ended up moving to Texas because she wanted to be with me. And she reminded me of that often. I was constantly being reminded that she was together with my dad for my sake, and that she was in Texas for my sake. I was constantly reminded of all of the things that she chose to give up on in order to give them to me. If she so much as went, like, she went to the Bahamas for whatever. She went to the Bahamas on a trip, and she came back and gave me a pareo, like one of the little wraparounds from the Bahamas that said, like, Bahamas. It was hot pink. She gave me that, and then she made sure to tell me that she had only had money for one of them, and that she wanted to buy it for me instead, because she wanted me to be happy so bad. But she continued to mention that she had wanted one too, but she had chosen to give it to me, and was like, when do I choose myself over you? Right? Isn't that so nice? When do I choose myself over you? Don't you just love that I give up all of myself for you? And I'm like, I just feel guilty.
Yeah.
I just feel fucking guilty. Not only that, but because she moved here for me and she had so much family in Miami, anytime there was an argument, it was, I will just go to Miami. And this was any argument with me, any argument with my brother, any argument with my dad. And sometimes she did do just that. My mother would up and leave to Miami all the time, and go stay with my sister or with my grandparents. And then one time she really did, they separated, did not tell me. I was in middle school. I was in 7th grade. So they separated, and she moved to Miami. I even went and visited her that summer and spent like a month with her in her house in Miami. And I ended up, like, she took me with some guy that she was seeing to, like, a fair, and I was livid the entire time. And she was like, why are you embarrassing me? And I was like, why the fuck are you out on a date and holding hands with a man that isn't my dad? Yeah. She was like, I don't understand why you're mad. And I'm like, what do you mean you don't understand why I'm mad? Again, keep in mind, no one fucking told me.
Like, no communication.
No communication whatsoever. I had no idea that my parents were separated.
Yeah.
And so it was just, there was a lot of that. There was a lot of constant leaving. Not only that, but there was a lot of codependency in the way that us Latinos have with our moms, because we all wish we could have raised our mothers so that we could have shown her the love that she deserved from childhood. Mm-hmm. However, that's not our fucking jobs. And if we spend our entire lives taking care of them the way that they should have been taken care of, but then we don't do that for ourselves or our daughters,
we're just repeating the cycle.
We're repeating the cycle.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of that, and she controlled my life a lot from Miami. Mm-hmm. I was never allowed to shave my legs. I was never allowed to do this. I was never allowed to do that. And she would find ways of keeping tabs on me. And if I ever didn't call her, it was on me, the child, that I didn't communicate with her. It was my responsibility to keep our relationship going in every day. It was my responsibility to do all these things, while also juggling the fact that I'm an immigrant in this country, and and I'm having to be the translator. I'm having to be my own advocate. I'm having to be the everything, because I'm in middle school and I'm missing the chance and opportunities to be in honors classes because my parents don't know what papers are being sent home.
Yeah.
Like, so at this point, it's 8th grade and I'm just feeling so insanely alone. I've already, my mom had been in and out since 6th grade. She hadn't been there. When I got my cycle, my brother was the one who was there. Who like got me the heating pads, hated those. Traumatic experience for him. I screamed. He was the one, yeah, Louis was
poor Louis.
Shook. Like, he was the one who ran to the store. He was the one that I called to. He was the one, like, she had already missed those big things. I didn't have a mother for the times whenever I should have been learning how to put on my makeup. I should have been doing all of these things. And her way of actively participating in my life was controlling me from far away instead. And then buying me gifts, because that's the only way that she knew how to show her love. And so as this is happening, I mean, my dad is working several jobs to put food on the table. So, of course, we spend some time together, and I loved my dad. But at the same time, I was very much alone. My brother was continuously in and out of the house because of all the problems that he had with my parents. And by the time that my mom left, so had Louis. Like, Louis had also left. And so I'm a middle schooler. I'm literally going through fucking puberty in abandonment. Like, you can imagine how that affected me for the rest of my life. And there was just so much isolation that began happening. Drinks wine. Pause, please.
Hold on.
This bitch.
We came prepared.
Not the tissues.
Just in case,
Yeah, I'm holding strong. Thank you. But I just might fuck around and cry a little bit. At the same time, I've been brought to this country to to go to college and to do a good job. That was, my dad always cemented, like, I needed to go to college and to do a good job. And I was always told, I can't hang out with these people because I might become ghetto and a thug and this thing. So I couldn't hang out with the Latinos in the neighborhood because I could become a thug. So I had to be around the preppy people and all these things. Well, I didn't like that either. So I hung out with the punks at my school because they were of every race. But, I mean, my father hated him. They hated every second of me dressing like that. My punk face was not for them. I think my struggles on the daddy issue side really arose in middle school. I feel like I'm on the couch.
So we went from like mommy issues into daddy.
Yeah. So those were the preset mommy issues from youth. Okay, we're all cut up. Great. So now we're gonna go to college. We're gonna unpack our daddy issues. Awesome. So, college, I went in deep into my assimilation era. I needed to prove that I wasn't, quote unquote, one of those immigrants, because my perspective was also insanely colonized and whitewashed, that didn't know what they were doing and couldn't speak the language. So I was the best at language. I was the best at this. And by the time I got to college, I thought that the only way for me to fit in, and to succeed was to be this perfect Southern lady, which is hysterical right now. Like, girl.
You?
I'm like,
Chris?
Like, I would still wear Lily, but in a very cunty way. Oh, no. Let's just say, for everyone who's seen this in the video, that Noelle was the first one to grab and use a tissue. She may not have been crying.
It was to dab my makeup to make sure that I was not oily.
She may not have been crying, but she was the first to grab the tissue. I'm saying this just in case I end up crying like a little bitch momentarily. So that was, It was fine. I honestly, like, it wasn't terrible. I didn't hate my assimilation phase, whatever. But it was just not very authentic. Mm-hmm. So whenever I started coming out of that and finally kind of coming into my own, and I stopped dressing so preppy 24/7 and trying to keep up this uptight perfect persona that I had to be in order to be accepted by this country, and in order for my residency to get accepted, and in order for my in order to get my DACA to work back when I was 19, I had to submit a folder that showed that I was immigration's wet dream. I literally had to submit a folder saying I had been baptized in the church, and I had graduated with honors, and I did this and I did that, and in 7th grade I got the UIL Art Award. Like, I literally presented a folder with my entire time in the United States saying, see, aren't I such a good member of society? Aren't I worth your fucking time? Aren't I worth being here? And what fucked me at the time was when I applied my junior year of high school to get my residency, I was stopped before I could even get to that point, because first you need to apply for a pardon for being here illegally for so long, and they wouldn't grant it to me. Now, my mother had already been pardoned, so I was like, WTF, but that was really disheartening to me. Yeah. So when that happened, and then I was able to get my DACA, I was on this like last ditch effort, right, to be the best version of myself that I could, quote unquote, that I could be, to be able to fit in and to be accepted. Okay. And as this came dismantling down post college, and I started becoming more comfortable in myself and finding who I was, I started finding some really scary truths that meant I was very much not the poster perfect child that I had made myself out to be my entire life. I never spoke out. I didn't fight back against my parents. If I wanted something at the store and my mom said, not today, honey, maybe next time, I would go, oh, okay, mom, because I wanted her to feel better. She didn't put that on me. I'm not blaming her or my dad for the fact that I put their feelings above mine. Mm-hmm. But in my head, the only way to be loved was to be that perfect child. Mm-hmm. So when I stepped away from this assimilation and I started finding these things inside of me that weren't perfect, when I started coming face to face with my queerness, and I started, I might have recently had my come to Jesus with my gender, but these thoughts have been lingering in the back of my mind for the longest time. And we have just been in deep denial, honey. But when I started seeing, oh my God, my pacemaker literally started beating faster. Like my shit's going into overtime right now. Oh no. I hate how I can actually feel it sometimes. Anyway, when I started coming face to face with, oh, something is off with my gender, and oh, something is off with how I'm attracted to people, and oh, I'm uncomfortable with my body and my sexuality because I want to be like I'm realizing that there's all of this sensual energy inside of me that I felt the need to get pimped up into all of these things. I felt like my own image of self was coming apart. Mm-hmm. And the way that this manifested in my relationship with my dad was in small ways at first. It actually didn't come to a head until recently, which I was so worried about healing my mommy issues that I hadn't given a second thought. Not a second fucking thought to my relationship with my father until recently. Yeah. And then I was like, oh, fuck. Okay. There's still more work to be done. Yeah. I still have a lot of therapy to do. Got it. Because at the end of the day, it is on me, and we'll talk about that later.
Yeah, we'll talk about that.
But at first it was in little things, right? So prior to me moving in with Fuller, I had been living with my parents. We were roommates. It was really cool. My dad and I would hang out in the evenings together and just have evening chats before we went to bed. And at some point when we were chatting, my dad had said something about like, you used to dress so well and now you dressed whatever, you know? And I was like, well, I used to dress for everyone else besides me. Now I dress for me. And he was like, no, I don't like it. And I'm like, okay. At the time, I couldn't name the feeling that I got. Mm-hmm. But now I know that that feeling was, so you don't like me. Mm-hmm. Because if this is what I'm showing you, that it's more authentic me, and that's your response. Okay. You know? And the thing that terrified me most, that would break my relationship with my father, and it did, was my queerness. I know my dad has struggles a lot with being accepting of the LGBTQ plus community. He's the typical, I've had friends that are gay guy that it's very much giving my neighbors black, like, you're not exempt from homophobia, sorry about you. I knew it was going to affect my relationship with my dad deeply. However, I was lucky enough to be in a heteronormative looking relationship at the time. So I knew that it was going to be just a little bit easier to come out because he was going to be less worried since I was in a serious relationship with my now partner. And so when I came out to him, obviously I cried and I was like, I'm just worried that, you know, you're gonna not love me. And he said the best, worst thing he could have said, because he didn't react with hate. He reacted with what he thought was with his version of love, which was to say, I would never leave your side. I may not always be on your side, but I will always be by your side. And the way that that broke me, because having to hear my father that he is going to love me despite who I am, was very hard. And he even said, like, he used an example, like, if you, I was like, because I even said something about, like, of course it's easy now, like, I'm with Fuller. It was like, if you had gotten married to a woman, like, I would be there. I might not have agreed, but I would be there. And I'm like, exactly. Like, I know you think that that is undying love, but that just makes me feel like absolute ass. Yeah. It's, yeah, like, I'm blessed. It could have been a way worse reaction. I could have gotten this whatever the fuck it's called. It's, you know, like, our relationship could have ended. It could have been way worse. Mm-hmm. But there was something that broke in me at that point where I was like, oh, I don't know that as I continue my journey into who I am, that he is ever going to be able to fully love me for who I am and not for what he wishes that I were. Mm-hmm. You know? And I get it. As parents, you have expectations of your kids and all of these things. But to what extent do you put your own version of their happiness above their real joy? Mm-hmm. So that was that was the basis of the little issues that I had with my dad, but nothing crazy, nothing major. Yeah. And then things kind of came to a head recently with everything that was going on with my gender, with me having realized how oh my God, the way that I hope that this does not get flagged. It's everything that happened. I moved in with my parents. We bought a home and had my parents move in with us. Basically at the beginning of June, and at the end of May is whenever they decided that they were gonna have a whole awakening, right? Just in time for Pride. And I was never planning on sharing with him about my gender identity because I already knew that he was not going to be accepting and that it was going to be devastating for me to live through that. And I decided ultimately that I was only going to talk about my gender journey with the people that I knew would take the time and effort and love to try to make me feel comfortable. So I told you, I told Alicia, I told my brother. And because I told my brother, my dad ended up inadvertently hearing about it. My house is apparently much less soundproof than I thought it was, and also I kind of scream when I talk. We all know this. So when I was just a little high volume, the door might have also been cracked open. It's fine. I'm just an idiot. I get it. However, he happened to overhear the conversation that I was having with my brother. And oh my god. Oh my god, like it was the rest of the night he was literally crying around the house, not talking, like waiting for somebody to ask him what was wrong. And when I did ask, "Are you okay?" he was like, "I'm fine." And I'm like, "Okay, I'm not gonna, that's it. That was your chance to talk. Like if you wanted to talk about it like grown-ups, we could have talked about it. But also you're literally making this about you." Which is the reason why I didn't tell you in the first place. Like, if you're hurt that I didn't tell you, that's fair to be hurt that your child doesn't feel comfortable enough to share something like this with you. Ask yourself why, though. Because ultimately, ask yourself why. And also, if you are hurt because I didn't feel like that, then maybe why not react in a way that would make me want to tell you about things in the future instead of making it about you, right? Yeah. And then since then, he was just kind of weird with me. So it's just one of those things where I've addressed myself in the correct gender in front of him. Every time I get anxiety, but I'm not going to stop being myself. If you want to talk about it, we can. Otherwise, I don't need to explain myself. I'm just going to continue existing because that's what I'm gonna do. Yeah. I actually ended up talking to my mother about it because she had no idea why he was in such a foul mood, and I was like, well, actually, and she had an amazing reaction. She was like, I have a long way to go in understanding this. I'm gonna have a long way to go in learning, and she does. She said some crazy shit in front of you the other day that I was like, and we've got a long way to go still.
I mean, but kudos to being open-minded.
She's trying. Yeah. Like she'll use the masculine in front of me more than the gender neutral because it's easier. And I get it. I yes, it's still within the binary and kind of sucks. Fuck it, okay? Like, she's trying. I'm grateful for that.
As long as you're okay with it.
Exactly. You know? Yeah. Like, it would also be different if whatever. It's fine. She's trying, I'm grateful, and she wants to be there for me. She's very much of the mentality of, I almost lost you twice in 1 week. I'm chilling, I'm good. If you want to live as a fucking unicorn, you can do that. I will be right by your side, cheering you on, you unicorn. Like... She doesn't give a fuck as long as I'm happy.
Yeah.
And that's really all you should want for your kid. Who gives a flying fuck? Yeah. As long as they're happy. And not harming others. Like, who am I harming?
Exactly.
Who am I harming?
Yeah.
I'm slaying nothing besides fear outfits. Like, I'm not murdering anything except for these looks. You know, like... What am I doing that's so wrong by existing outside of a social parameter and social norm? Nothing. And he's tried since policing my mother's use of gender with me. He got onto her after I left and he was like, I asked you for a daughter and you gave me a daughter, so why are you addressing her like she's a boy? And she was like, literally... I feel sorry for you, like, because you can either get with it or you're gonna die alone. Like, what are you doing? And he was like, I just can't condone this or conceive this. And my mom was like, who asked you to? Who? Yeah. because T, like, I did not ask you to condone this. I did not ask you to conceive this because I knew that you couldn't. Yeah. Sorry. That might be super disrespectful, and I'm sure that's very hurtful to hear, but ultimately, look at how you're reacting. Look at how you're reacting.
Yeah, exactly.
I didn't ask you to conceive or condone because of this. And also, your opinion doesn't matter. It's my life. So, like, what? Yeah. So I went to Pride this year, and they were like, "Mom hugs? We've got mom hugs." And I was like, "You got a dad back there? Because that's what I'm missing."
That's what I need.
It's these issues have manifested a lot in my relationships, in me always thinking that every fight is going to be the fight that ends us. It's manifested into power dynamics with Fuller that didn't need to be there, because if we're a team, and then we're a team. Like, it's not about who's right. It's about how do we move forward. Yeah. It's manifested itself in me having really codependent relationships with other women, because that's all I knew with my mom, to put somebody else in front of myself consistently and over again, and to put their needs and to give them my absolute all. And if, like, the kind of best friends that you have to be with them for everything, because that was what I thought a healthy relationship with a woman was like, because that's all I had experienced, was someone who controlled my every thought and whose feelings always came before mine. And it turned me into weird things, right? It kind of turns you into a pick-me in certain areas. It turns you into a slut. It turns you into, like, you seek attention in the worst ways, because you don't know how to process as a child this hole that you're seeking to fill. And so now, as an adult, when I started working through these things, one of the first things that my therapist told me was that I had to accept that I might never have the mother that I deserve. Bitch.
Yeah. That's a slap to the face.
Bitch. Like, bro, I mean, because you're like, but I deserve this.
Yeah.
But absolutely. I crave this. It's such an integral need in my soul to have been loved correctly. But it doesn't matter how great of a need this is. She is also a human being who went through her life and went through her trauma and did her things. And she is, I will give it to her. She is working on her shit in her own ways, but she's not going to be perfect. She's not going to magically wake up one day and be the mom that gives me the right amount of love in the right ways, that knows how to actively listen and do all these things, because she's a fucking human being. And I have to accept that. And I had two choices. Learn to try to communicate boundaries and give her the opportunity to heal with me. Learn to accept her as she is, so that I can also move forward. Or I could cut her out of my life, right? Yeah. That was with someone toxic. Like, that's really,
those are your options, really, to, like, where, and there is no right or wrong answer. No, honestly, no. I think it really varies between one's experience. For example, my relationship with my biological dad, it was very in and out. It was always like, we would talk for a good period of time. I would go down to San Antonio and visit. We would have a great time, and then literally just like a fuckboy, he would ghost me, like completely ghost me.
Is actually a fuckboy.
Is actually a fuckboy. No. He's on his fourth marriage now, so good luck. But anyways, yeah, he would ghost for months. Yeah. Sometimes even up to a year. And I wouldn't hear from him, and
that's insane.
Yeah, and sometimes I wouldn't even know why. I would just be like, is it me? Like, did I do something wrong? Did I,
That's so hard on a kid, dude.
And it's like, because, and going back to my ex-stepdad, the reason why I constantly did those things was because I was always put the blame. Like, your mom and I are fighting because of you.
Yeah.
You know, so I always thought I'm the problem. This is because of me. It's my fault.
I feel like kids already, because their worldview is so small, kids already internalize their parents' problems as having to do with them because there is no other explanation within their mind because they don't know any better.
Exactly. Yes.
So you're probably already putting yourself to blame. And then on top of that, it's getting cemented onto you that you are the one to blame.
Yes.
Coño.
Yeah. So, and it was like that for years. I mean, very well into my 20s as well. So, at some point, I basically had enough because to me, you know, I was already I was with my husband. I mean, we were together already. So, I was already in, a relationship and things were going well everywhere else. But this was one thing in my life that constantly dragged me down and affected me heavily. I mean, I always cried about it. Because I'm like, why can't he just like be there for me as like the way a father needs to be there for their child? Yeah. Why can't he just support me? And everything has to be with strings attached. Like even after I graduated high school, first of all, he showed up to my high school graduation, but left before me even seeing him because he did not want to face my family or whatever. He didn't want to be.
What a coward.
Yeah. So that was another thing is like, okay, you still have whatever you think my family still has beef with you after you not being around for, I don't know, fucking 12, 13 years, and you think that they still, like, hold that over your head?
You're not that important, honey.
Like, honestly. And so, again, it's just, like, he made it about himself or how he was perceived, which I'm like, I wanted you there.
Yeah.
But clearly you couldn't do that for me.
It was your day, but he made it about himself.
Exactly. So it was always like that. Every time and especially with my sister also being in San Antonio, I mean, they had their own issues. So every time like we weren't talking, he always went to my sister and would say some snarky stuff like, like, your sister hasn't called me, or something like that. Like, oh, did you forget you have a dad? That was literally his response every time we would connect again.
That was Lily's favorite. I mean, yeah, honestly, the narcissism is just out the wazoo. Yeah, oh, well, I'm so glad you had time to call me.
Yes.
I'm glad you had time to call me today. I thought you had forgotten about me.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know I had a daughter anymore.
And it works both ways. It works both ways. And who is the adult
Who's
here?
Who's the fucking
honestly?
adult here? Why am I in charge of our relationship? Whatever, go on.
Yeah. So finally, and especially when it came to my wedding, so I was I was engaged.
I could have punched your dad.
And suddenly, again, he just decides to not be around. And I didn't know why, again. I just never texted back or called anytime I reached out, and I took it very personal, obviously, because at this point you're just not responding to me, or you just don't care.
You also went through this whole internal battle of, do I want to give him the opportunity to be there and step up for me, or do I protect my peace?
Yes.
And you had chosen that you deserved a father figure, so you were going to give him the opportunity to be one. If he really was willing to do it, like he has been talking, money where your mouth is, come do it. I will be gullible one more time and open the fucking door for you.
Exactly.
And then he did play you for a fucking fool.
Yeah, because there was no response. Dude. And I sent out a message where I had enough. I always try to be the bigger person because that's what the way I was conditioned is be the bigger person, like it's not worth the fight. But sometimes I feel like I abandoned myself in that sense. I'm abandoning my feelings and speaking my truth only to save their feelings. Yep. And that's unfair on me.
There's a time and a place to be the bigger person. Yeah. This was not it.
Yeah.
This was not it.
So I finally called him out. Yeah. I sent him a nice long message. because obviously I was also hearing things from my sister or you know, things that he would say behind my back, and I'm like, no, I'm not doing that. You have a problem, you come talk to me. But if you're not, this is what I have to say. So I called him every name in the book and called him out for everything that he thought, because apparently at the time it seemed like it was like I was asking him for money or something, and it's like, which is completely not true. We completely funded this wedding.
But also, your daughter's getting fucking married, you goddamn bum. If she did ask you for money, oh my god, the goddamn horror. Like,
so I mean, it's just like, no, I wanted you there present as my dad, but if you cannot set aside your feelings or your pride, whatever the fuck, then fine, I don't want you there.
He had to find a way to make it about himself.
Yeah.
He had to find a way to make it about himself.
Over the years, since, you know, especially because I saw him 2 weeks before I got married. I saw him at my sister's graduation. And keep in mind, again, I had not heard one peep from him for years. I mean, it had to be like, I mean, COVID had started. I think that was the last time we like briefly talked on the phone. So it was already maybe over a year since I had last heard from him, I guess, in general. And obviously I decided to play petty, and once I saw him and like we saw each other, I was like, oh, you're alive? My god. And it was so funny because my sister's parents were laughing because I just was like, oh my god, I had no idea what happened to you. Like, I have not heard from you. Like, I was just being sarcastic, like, out the ass. And he was just like, don't be like that. And I'm like,
I literally invited you to my fucking wedding and you haven't responded, you goddamn dick.
And the wedding was not brought up once. He asked, how's your boyfriend? So that was that. And so from then on, I was like, I'm better off just cutting this person out of my life. I don't need this. Like, if you can't be happy for me, if you cannot support me, if you can just not even, I don't need you. I don't need you in my life. I have plenty of people who love me in my life, who are supportive, who have been there for me since day one. You know, my mother, like, despite everything that we've gone through, like, I do not need this. So I made the executive decision to cut him off, like, out of my life completely. He was blocked. I didn't need a reminder. I didn't need a reminder. So, and over the years, I mean, there was always an internal debate, especially after having my son, because again, I was going through these big life transitions. I got married, I bought a house, I was pregnant, I had my son, and not a fucking peep. Not a fucking peep.
Wow.
So that was really hard. Hard. And there were always certain reminders where, like, you know, you see a video on, like, TikTok of, like, parents being there and, you know, like, you know, especially a father being there for their daughter, or, you know, you see these father-daughter dances that still, like, to this day, like, choke me up because, like, I wish, you know, I will continue to wish, but at the end of the day, I had to set the expectation of, like, okay, this can go one or two ways. I accept them for who they are, and at whatever capacity that he can give me, or I can just simply choose peace and keep him out of my life. And at that time, I was like, I am better off just keeping him out of my life at this point. And I will come back to where we are now in a bit as we go through our topics. But I mean, it's really, you, at the end of the day, especially at this phase in our lives as adults, we have to choose us at the end of the day. Like, yes, you know, whatever relationship you have with your parents, because everyone's different, like, you know, but you have to do what's best for you, because you are also living this life. You can be understanding of what your parents have gone through. you know, I'm sure they have their struggles that has caused them to be this way, and you can sympathize.
Absolutely.
But at the same time, like, you are also a grown-ass adult. If I am taking responsibility for, you know, my traumas, for my actions and everything, you can too.
Yeah.
You can too. You just choose not to. It is much easier for you to continue to be the way you are than to actually put the fucking work to better yourself, not only for yourself, but for your family.
Yeah.
You know? And again, it's accepting that, you know, I'm never going to have that perfect parent. Yeah. Even with my stepdad, you know, I obviously had not heard from him, and you know, since the divorce. And I did see him once, because he came out to...
Did you throw to punch him?
I wanted to. He came to support, he came to see my sister at one of her dance competitions when she was in high school. And I was so nervous because I felt angry.
Yeah.
I also felt scared for my life. I mean, obviously, like, he would be crazy if he tried to do something, but also just like, I've been scared of this man.
How could you not, when you've had such a primal fear since you were a child?
Yeah.
How could you not relive that?
Yeah, and the fact that he was coming with his, like, new wife and new stepdaughter, who was probably like a few years younger than me. And from what I heard from my sister telling me, like, how their dynamic was, it's like, you know, he spoils her, like, again, like the love bombing in the sense, but I guess apparently he's much better and is continuously a good father to her. And it's like, wow, you couldn't do that, not only for me, who, yeah, I was your stepdaughter, but I was technically your first daughter, but not even your biological daughter. You couldn't show up for us too, but you can show up for her, who is older, like, compared to where I was just a child.
Yeah.
Like, that really sucks. It really sucks, you know? So
why did you deserve that version of him?
Yeah.
That's a whole different, but ultimately you didn't, right? You didn't deserve that version of him. That wasn't good. That wasn't on you. Mm-hmm. That was never on you. Those were his choices that he made. Yeah.
And I also had to accept that I wasn't ever going to get that apology.
No.
I was never going to get the apology that I so much wanted. I always wanted to know why. Why me? Why did you choose to treat us this way? Why did you, you know, hurt me? Why? Like, just so many questions. But then you kind of have to sit with the realization that you're never going to get the apology. You're never going to get the explanation. Like, you have to find a way to move forward without consistently looking back thinking, why did I deserve this? Because I didn't.
No, I think sometimes we do have to take that step back and be able to see, like, he would have done this to whoever was his first family. Mm-hmm. You guys just happened to be the ones that fell into that trap first. Yeah. He was this person regardless of who you were. It had nothing to do with you and everything to do with him. Mm-hmm. But as a child, you internalize that so much. Yeah. It's almost impossible to separate. Mm-hmm. No, I ended up choosing to take a break from my mother, but not to cut her out entirely. And I communicated that with her. She did not like that. For her, I might as well have been cutting her out because I couldn't give her a timeline on when I was going to be ready. And it was really hard. It was really hard on her. It was really hard on me. But ultimately what was harder on me was how every time that I called to share, Ma, I got my eyebrows done. Oh, and mine. Yeah, the lack of being able to share my joy because it was always stolen, because she was always living vicariously through or trying to, you know, or thinking about hers because no one has thought about her, or she feels like no one has thought about her. So she's always only thinking about her, you know. So I understand where she's coming from. That doesn't make her actions any less hurtful. Mm-hmm. eventually I had to, I worked through, and I sat with that anger for a long time. All of my friends who heard that I was moving in with my mom were shocked because of where I was with my mother a year and a half ago.
Yeah.
And they were like, did not think that this would work. And they've all checked up on me since, and I'm like, Lily's actually not the issue. And they're like, what the fuck?
Yeah. Plot twist.
Plot twist. But two, I think, because I've always had a very people-pleasing nature because of my experiences, and because I've always been the glue that held the family together, I ended up, unfortunately, having to be wiser than my years. The tea is that I'm the baby, but I was... what's the movie with Maribel?
Oh, Encanto.
Think Encanto, okay, Maribel, how all the older siblings think that the weight is on them, but Maribel is really the one that has to fix all the shit at the end of the day. That was me, all right? My brother went from being the baby to being the middle child to being the oldest child because my siblings moved to the States. He crumbled and crashed under that pressure, which I would too, bitch. And so I ended up, a lot of times I was the reason why my parents were together, and they weren't shy to tell me these things, and it was a lot of pressure to have on my shoulders as a child. And so I had to deal with a lot of anger and a lot of hate for a very long time, and work through that to get to where I am now. And I tried setting those boundaries with my mom, and it obviously wasn't easy, and reinforcing them is a continuous thing. And I do get pulled into my bad behaviors and my bad responses, which we'll talk about more in a little bit. But ultimately, I've been trying to continue to reestablish those boundaries and work through those. And her and I have had, we are working on those, and we know now how to apologize to each other and talk, and we're working on that. On the flip side of that is the fact that I live with my dad. So it's not like I can...
Yeah.
There's limited options, right? Because ultimately what's happening is that I am choosing to live in as much peace as I can, because I love my father, and I do not want to not... I don't want to not live with him. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
It's not like I want him to move out. It's not like I want... I have to let go of the version of my dad that I wish he was. Of the version of my dad that I just know in the back of my mind he could be. You know? Like, you have this hope for your parents that they will realize that they can be the very best version of themselves, and they're so close. You can taste it, and you want that for them and yourself selfishly so badly. That's not going to happen.
Yeah.
And maybe it could. Maybe with time it could, but honestly, right now, I'm at a place where I only have energy for so much. Yeah. And I would rather spend my energy pouring into people that love me, because this year is rough and I'm not working on anything new. I'm just working on keeping my love bar full and keeping my joy alive, you know. I would rather spend this mental energy pouring into my besties and my chosen family than pour energy into a conversation that I know is going to be strenuous, pour into a healing journey that I know is going to be long and arduous, because I don't want to. That's the tea. It's not that he's any less important to me. It's not that my relationship with him doesn't matter. It's that I know I'm going to have to do so much of the legwork. Yeah. There's so much hurt in him because the world has hurt him so bad. There's so much, all of these things, but my patience cannot, I don't know, I don't want to say excuse, behavior. It's just like there's just only so much that you can take at a time.
Yeah.
And as much as I wish to have a harmonious relationship with him again, I mean, you and I had filmed a whole video about how, like, you didn't have a dad in your life. That's okay. You could borrow mine because we had such a perfect relationship. But this perfect relationship stemmed around me being the perfect child. So it's just, I mean, it's one of those things where now I get to see him interact with my nieces and nephews. And he told my niece the other day, like, oh, see, Natalia, that's why I love you, because you do as you're told. And my other niece, who you can tell has massive jealousy issues because of the way that he treats her, was like, what? From the living room. And I was like, Elizabeth, do not listen to him. Love is not dependent on how you behave. There is no clauses to love. Love is perpetual. Love is abundant. Love is not clausical. It's not if then. Love just is.
Yeah.
And if someone loves you because you feed into their delusion of what you should be, that is not real love.
Yeah.
As much as they want it to be. And it's hard. I'm not gonna lie. It's really hard for me to see those things because in his mind, they're not damaging comments. It's not that big of a deal. It's not that serious. It's not this. It might not be to you, but ultimately, even if we're trying to be the best of parents, what we say to our child, they're still going to internalize it in ways that we don't even know.
That's going to be their inner voice.
That's going to be their inner voice. And that's the tea. That helps us move on, actually. I like that. That is their inner voice. And it makes me so sad because my inner voice constantly tells me, qué pendeja, puta, qué güey, cómo, por qué, pero por qué. O sea, obviously not in...
I mean, especially...
like, not in Mexican slang, in Peruvian slang, but still.
in our culture, because you're used to hearing certain things growing up from our parents, you know, those frankly became our inner voices.
¿Ves lo que te pasa?
Yes.
Te dije que te ibas a caer. You see, I knew you were gonna fall. You ran and you fell and you got hurt. See? Okay. But my knee still scraped. I'm still on the verge of tears. I'm still in pain. Right now, if you are in the worst mood possible and someone tries to give you a life lesson, are you gonna fucking receive it? No. So why, as parents, do we insist on teaching children life lessons when they are in fucking tears?
Yeah.
Like they're gonna hear a word of that.
Yeah.
So I was telling my husband this the other day too, because my mom woke up with a lot of pain and she was on one because she was in a lot of pain. And I told him it's so hard for me to have compassion because all I got when I was in pain was, well, that's what you get.
Yeah.
That's what you get for doing that. She was in so much pain because she is diabetes type 2 and she continues to insist that just because something doesn't have sugar on the label, even though it has high fructose, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's not technically sugar. It doesn't affect your diabetes because her blood levels don't go up. Okay, but you're still bedridden the next day, right? So in my mind, it was so hard for me to not treat her with animosity and frustration as her caretaker because I'm like, that's what you fucking get. That's what you fucking get. But she doesn't want to hear that. And she's like, why do you treat me like that? Bitch, who treated who like that first? Who treated who like that first? This is how you raised me. Yeah. This is the empathy that I got.
Yeah.
It's heartbreaking and it's devastating. But my brother said something years and years ago about how he was teaching Matthew that it was a cruel world because whatever. Or you could be his safety.
Yes, absolutely.
Or you could be the one person that he knows he can turn to whenever there's nobody else.
Yeah.
You can be the thing that takes away his 13th reason. Like, why? It's so... But that's how they were treated. And that's how their parents were treated. And that's how so they excuse in their mind their frustration. Because at the end of their day, their feelings are valid. But the way that they're expressing them is so fucking hurtful.
Yeah.
And so damaging long term. It takes such a huge toll on us, and it forms us into this compassionless person that I'm like, well, this is what I received growing up, so this is what I give now that I'm older. And it's in our own hands now to take a step back and say, okay, yes, these things happen to us in life.
Yeah.
However, I am now the adult. I am now the one in charge. Do I continue to perpetuate these wrongdoings? Do I continue to perpetuate this hurt? Or do I do the difficult thing and take a hard look in the fucking mirror and go, whoop, this is going to be a long journey?
Exactly. So let's get into healing then. So I think that is a good way to come into, well, what do we do? Now that we've acknowledged, okay, clearly I am now regurgitating what I've grown up with, everything that I've known.
Yeah.
Growing up, what do I do now? I obviously don't want to be this person.
I just heard my mother come out of my mouth. How do I keep her from going doing that again?
Like, what can I do to become a better person or parent, whatever it is? What is the first step? And I mean, it's not linear.
No.
Obviously, because the work looks different for everybody depending what works for you. For me, when it came to getting to that point where I knew I was standing in that vicious cycle of, what I grew up hearing and my inner voice and wanting to break that generational curse, to say the least, I started in therapy. I was in my early 20s, and honestly, I was going to therapy since I was in high school because we went through an event with my stepdad, and I had mandatory therapy. So I had to go through that. But I decided to go back in my 20s because I knew that it was affecting my relationship at the time as well, or with my husband at that time. So we both started going to therapy. I sought off a counselor at TCC and started seeing them. And then eventually, because they were getting their license at the time and they finally became therapists, I also saw them after TCC. So I continued to see this therapist after, and, we did pre-marriage marriage counseling with them as well before my husband and I got married. So kudos to him, for being there. But, sometimes therapy, we think like, I'm going to talk to someone about my problems and not realize that sometimes you are the problem. It's easy because you think, I just get to bitch about the people in my life that are causing me to be this way. But in reality, it's taking accountability for your actions and your behavior and what to do for yourself and how to handle certain situations. So, I mean, obviously it's not all the answers there on the table, but you also have to be able to want to retain and get that information. So, and that in itself is a lot of hard work, because who wants to admit that you are an imperfect person and that I am the problem, and, not fall into I'm the victim.
Healing really begins whenever you start to think to yourself, what am I doing that's perpetuating these thoughts further?
Yeah.
How am I playing myself here? Like, what am I doing that's continuing to mirror that?
Exactly.
I think a lot of, like, the way that we talk to ourselves, I hear the way that my dog talks to himself. Anytime he makes a simple mistake, he dropped oil on the hallway and he was a fucking idiot. What a fucking idiot. When I'm so close to finishing, I spill oil. What a fucking idiot. I want to hug you. Like, what do you mean you're a fucking idiot? People make mistakes. Accidents happen. And you catch yourself saying these things. I think then that's the point where you take a step back and you take a second and you go, no, I'm not an idiot. I made a mistake.
Yeah.
But this is a tool that I picked up from where? Therapy! Like, and because that's ultimately, yeah, therapy is great for going and venting and getting the things out. But therapy is so good for giving you tools so that you can now deal with the emotions in a different way. And like you said, it's not linear. It's not going to be perfect, and you're not going to be able to do it every time. When I am on my cycle, it is much harder for me to have empathy and to work towards things with my mother than it is whenever I'm not on my cycle. Obviously, that's true for any person with a uterus that goes through hormonal changes, but specifically for this little baby with PTSD, yeah, my cycle is difficult and hard, and my patience is 0 to none. I'm constantly catching myself saying or doing things that I know are reminiscent of past traumas. The biggest thing is to not chastise yourself, to say, whoa, okay, that happened. That was on me. However, that does not mean that I'm a bad person. Because good people can do bad things. It's okay. What was wrong with that interaction? Okay, well, my feelings were valid, but that didn't mean that she deserved to get yelled at. Just because my feelings were hurt does not mean that I deserve to hurt hers. Doesn't matter how justified I felt in that moment. What can I do to remedy this? What can I do that will make this better? I don't want to fucking apologize. I really don't. But I should. One, because we're leading by example in this household. Okay? If we're both healing together, mommy, then you see how I come and apologize? I expect the same from you, bitch. Gracias. But two, because even if she doesn't follow the example, it says more about me, what actions I choose to take, than it says about her. Her thing her whole life has been, well, your father, we are fighting, you and I are fighting because of your father. No. We are not fighting because of something that he said. We are fighting because of the way that you chose to react to the thing that he said. That's why you and I are fighting. So I'm trying to take that same lens of accountability onto myself and go, okay, it was me. This sucks ass. Tail between my legs. Let's go fucking apologize to her husband now. Sorry, mi cielo. I didn't need to raise my voice. That was on me. But I joke. But every time I do that, I'm one step closer to it being easier. I'm one step closer to that not being my norm.
And I think that goes into, learning emotional regulation. It's learning how to choose not to automatically react, which is, again, so much harder, easier said than done. But I think it's something that everyone can benefit from learning. Especially, when it comes to parenting. I mean, it's the exact same thing. We're going to have a gentle parenting episode later on. Or actually, at this point, we've already had it. So, I think
so that's on us, recording out of order.
But, it's because we are raising this next generation on how to emotionally regulate, we have to check ourselves as well of, well, what am I displaying in front of them? Because essentially they're going to pick up on the way that I regulate or the way I react, just how we picked up on how our parents react. I used to have a very with my stepdad, because he was abusive and was a very angry, like when he got angry, so he broke things around the household. And in my early 20s, when I got upset, and I'm a little ashamed to say this, but even in my later in my 20s, I was still breaking and throwing stuff and hitting stuff because I could not emotionally regulate my anger or my frustration, because especially with anxiety, you kind of feel like you have you lose control and you don't know what to do with your hands or with anything. So the easiest thing to do is to express your emotion is to throw something, to break something, and it took me not necessarily a while, but it really was a hard pill to swallow to think, okay, I learned this because this is what I was shown, but that does not mean it is okay. I cannot continue to do this. I am a grown-ass adult. I cannot react this way because essentially, and obviously this was before Naveed came into the world, that I was like, I don't want to display this behavior to my kid. And it's still hard. Like, there's times where I do get emotional, or I want to argue sometimes, when Naveed is there, and it's kind of like one of those instances where I eventually have to check myself. So if there's no way that I can contain my feelings at the moment, I go to the closet. The closet is my safe space. So I go to the closet when I need a moment to just let it out. And if I want to punch something, I will punch my clothes, because guess what? They're in hangers. I'm not causing any damage. If I need to release that tension, that is the way I'm doing it.
A safe way to get it out of your system, friend.
Yeah. So it and sometimes it looks like that, like redirecting that anger into a safer manner that, okay, I'm not hurting anybody. There's no damage being done. I'm in a safe space. Let me calm down, recollect, and try again. And sometimes that is what it takes. And following that with choosing partners who feel safe, not familiar.
Yes.
And a lot of that does have to do with how you're healing. Because sometimes it looks like, and for me, obviously when me and my husband got together, we were not our healed selves.
Yeah.
We grew into our, and I don't want to say we're like fully healed. Like, oh yeah,
no, everyone's healing. Yeah, no, everyone's healing.
We're still healing.
Yeah.
But we decided to do that together.
Yeah.
So, we may have gotten together out of like, some things felt familiar, not exactly completely safe, but we eventually became each other's safety net over time. Was it automatic? No. And I think it is important, especially like if you're still dating or you're still trying to find your person, don't find someone that is like, everyone says like, oh, I want to feel the butterflies. No, babe, the butterflies is anxiety. It's your intuition telling you, get the fuck out.
Like, butterflies are nice. Butterflies are great. But ultimately, butterflies are fleeting. And what's not is someone who's actually accountable.
Yes.
That's the tea. Finding a partner who doesn't, where you are going to feel uncomfortable. Because I can't tell you the amount of times that I tried to run from Fuller. And very much like that show on Netflix that we were talking about earlier. What was it called?
Nobody Wants
This. Very much like that. Having Fuller say to me, like, you can continue to try to run and you can try to make excuses for why we shouldn't be together, but I'm not going anywhere. Like, until you act, not in a toxic way, but like it was, you're not going anywhere. No. It was very much one of those things where it was like, this isn't even a fight or an argument. This is just a discussion that we are having because we clearly are not on the same page, and we need to discuss this so that we can move forward. And me being like, what the fuck do you mean we're not fighting? I'm fighting. Why are you not fighting?
I think we're so used to, like, especially growing up with, like, telenovelas and the culture, everything's so passionate. Like, even fights, it's like, we have to be yelling. Things need to be thrown.
Slam the door. Slam the
super
cabinet.
Dramatic.
Walk out.
Yeah, like, run away. No, come back.
If he doesn't run after me, he doesn't care. No, pendeja. If he doesn't run after you, he probably knows you need 5 minutes to calm down. He's going to chill on his phone for a second. And when he thinks you've got it under control, he's going to come back in and be like, hi, I want to talk about this. Can we? Like, are we good? Or do you need more time? Because I'm willing to give you more time if that's what you need. Like, like, it's in healthy relationships, will have you be going to therapy because you realize you are the problem. It's very annoying. I hate it. Being the one, it's funny because in all of my friends, like, scenarios of the problems that they're having with their marital spouses, I'm always like, damn, I'm on the side of the guy here. I'm the one that's doing I'm the one that's doing the same shit as they are. And I'm like, fuck.
You are the problem.
Yeah. I'm like, oh no.
How do I tell her?
Should we tell them? Yeah. So, I mean, so like that's whatever. Pero, I don't know. I just, the right partner is not going to make the young version of yourself feel bad. Mm-hmm. And I think our healing really starts, like what we were saying, with talking to yourself nicer. Mm-hmm. If you can't afford to give that compassion to your parents yet, I get that. If you can't afford to give, if you are trying your best to give that compassion to your kids, but you're struggling, I get that. Mm-hmm. Talk kindly to yourself first. Start there. Start with your number one player. Mm-hmm. Once you start feeling better and start believing what you are hearing more, because it really doesn't matter how often you hear positive things. It makes a world of a difference in your mind. Then it will bleed out into other areas of your life, just like the negative does.
Yeah.
Yes, it's harder to wash out the negative than it is to bleed in the good, but it will come with time. Mm-hmm. Start with you. Start with baby steps. Start with small things, you know? Even if it is just you choosing to tell yourself once a day that you are okay, or if it is just whenever the next time that you call yourself stupid because you dropped something, that you take a step back and go, no, I'm not stupid. Mistakes happen. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, celebrate those small little wins, you know? Once you become more self-aware of where it's stemming from, like that's already leaps and bounds, like, from where your parents were.
Yeah. The tea is that we are not becoming our parents. We are mirroring their coping mechanisms for life. Yeah. So if we, quote unquote, don't want to become our parents, then what we really need to do is find healthier coping mechanisms and slowly start working on those, because those are the aspects of our sales of our sales. Those are the aspects of ourselves.
Southern lady coming out.
Girl, not the Southern lady. Fucking gag me with a spoon. We'll insert a picture of a deep assimilation Chris in sorority life somewhere in this episode. Yeah, it's that you've got to pour into yourself. That will heal all.
Yeah. Well, now that we're going towards the end, but I did forget to mention my current status with my dad is so he eventually did reach out, and I saw it coming because my sister, I mean, we tell each other everything, so she did give me the heads up, hey, Dad's thinking about reaching out to you.
Don't you hate when they involve your siblings in your own problems?
Yeah, honestly.
But like, why do you gotta make other people do the mental work for you, bro?
That's why I always told her every time she tells me something about my dad, like, or if he asks about something or how I am, like, he can also pick up the phone. Like, yes, I put this barrier between us to, you know, protect my peace and space, but at the same time, like, if he is coming in with intention of apologizing or at least taking accountability for his behavior and you know, our strained relationship, then I am willing to hear him out.
Yeah. I am not unreasonable.
Yeah.
I am not unreasonable. It's the way that you are approaching me that makes me not want to have this conversation further.
So, eventually I did get the text or the call, and obviously I had very mixed feelings, but at the end of the day, I too was, as much as I want to keep my peace, but at the same time, this strained relationship obviously still bothered me.
Of course.
And is going to continue to bother me. So if he felt the need to talk to me or to better our relationship, I'm all ears. You know, I'm like, okay, I'm open to it. So we ended up meeting up, and I mean, he was obviously more emotional to see me than I was to see him.
Lol.
Especially because the way he, like, immediately grabbed me for a hug and a kiss, and I was like, I was not ready, but...
Whoa there, Buster!
But, you know, like, okay, cool.
Pump the brakes.
And that's when I realized, when we were talking, I mean, yes, he wants to better his relationship with his daughters. Cool. But, you know, what does that look like? What does that look like on his end? What does that look like on my end? And I can see in some ways, like, okay, you're still kind of the same person. You're just saying things that I potentially want to hear, but what about actions? Like, what are you actually going to do? And same with me. It's like, okay, what am I able to give to this relationship to where it suffices for both of our ends?
Everyone
and not
wants
just one.
to be better.
Yeah.
Everyone wants things to be different. Are you willing to put in the effort and accountability that it takes for that to happen?
Yeah. So, I mean, eventually we talked it out. He gave his, I'm going to call it an excuse, because it was an excuse. But at the end of the day, again, he's not fully in his healed version, and however he wanted to process things, that is his prerogative. And it has nothing to do with me at the end of the day, because I did my part, and so be it, you know? But now what our relationship looks like is, okay, like, we can be in each other's lives and support one another from afar. It doesn't mean we have to talk to each other every day. And in reality, the way he basically, because he knows that he's not a good fatherly figure. He knows, like, I know I'm not dad of the year. Like, but I can be your friend. And essentially it's like, all right, if that's at the capacity you can give me as a friend, then, I mean... So, in the sense, we agreed, like, okay, like, we both have to put in the effort of, all right, check up on one another from time to time, you know? And, yeah, just support each other through, you know, we can celebrate our big wins, and, you know, if we happen to need each other during our downfalls, then, you know, we can be there at our best capacity. And to me, it was like, okay, I'd rather have that, knowing that there's no ill feelings between us, that we can just continue, move forward, and just, you know, love each other from a distance in reality. And he's been, you know, we'll text from time to time, check on each other, and honestly, like, that's fine. I don't care. I haven't had you for a majority of my life. It honestly, it makes no difference. Yeah. Feelings wise, a little bit, but it doesn't change anything. So, you know, it is what it is. But again, to each person their own, and you know, whatever your journey looks like with your parent, whether it's toxic or non-toxic, you know, it's very valid. But as an adult, you know, you have to take the responsibility in your healing journey, whatever that looks like, and give yourself grace that it's not going to happen overnight. It's going to take some time. It took me very, very many years to come to this point, but I mean, there is hope. There's hope that you can change. Maybe not that the other person can change, but at least there's hope for you, that you can change, that you can become a better person for yourself, and, you know, to be able to essentially create this peace around you.
Well, neither of us cried, so winning. Just my little Cancer moon, making sure I stay looking like I don't care, even though I have too many feelings and I care the most.
We might be healing. We might be healing.
I also think I'm just wildly dehydrated, and my body's like, you thought you were gonna cry? That's so cute.
Your tear bank is low.
Like, bitch. Have you had water this week? Okay then. Okay then.
To be fair, I did cry already this morning, so.
Well, there you go.
But anyways, after this very heavy topic, let's find our sprinkle of joy for the week. So, Chris, what is your sprinkle of joy?
My sprinkle of joy this week is our Patreon. It sounds fake and like I'm just promoting something that we're doing for money, but it's not, and let me tell you why. Us developing our Patreon for us truly means the start of us as a business. This is our first monetary endeavor. And that's huge and exciting. Not only that, but we are now committing to engaging with a community a step further than you do whenever you're just on social media and online.
Yeah.
You do have to have a much more personal relationship with your members on Patreon, which is really nice. I personally enjoy being a part of a few different communities on Patreon for artists that I follow, so it's really nice to be on this end of it. And I don't know, everything that we've been working for, we made sure when we were creating the different membership levels that we were really thinking about not just how can we make money off this, but how can we provide something that you guys do want to share with us and that excites y'all just as much as it excites us, because I know we think we're funny, but if you don't think we're funny, we're gonna go broke. So it's we really sat and we did a bunch of research and we thought about this. This has been in the works for fucking ever, and I'm just really happy with the results. We ended up with 3 tiers, branded, of course. And so now we've got the opportunity to have friends, best friends, and best friends for life on our Patreon. And depending on the 3 different tiers, you get different things. Y'all will get to submit questions into a new mini series that all of our Patreon subscribers will get access to, even the friends, which is Ask-a-Frahnd. And that's literally what it sounds like. It's an advice column where Noelle and I give our unsolicited and unorthodox and unprepared advice. That's the tea. That's what we do. It's essentially the struggle jar that we've done in the past,
which was such a huge hit.
A huge hit, and we love hearing y'all's struggles. Honestly, it makes for a shit show of a conversation, and it's so fun to be able to just do that. So we're really excited for the Ask-a-Friend segment, whether it's absolutely ludicrous and unhinged. If you want us to support your Delulu, tell us that. We can't.
You can just leave a little don't actually give me the truth, just support my Delulu. And we'll just support it.
Because honestly, bestie, listen, I'm always the bestie that's going to give you the advice, but sometimes I take a step back and I go, do you just want to bitch, or do you want me to actually provide advice?
Yeah.
And sometimes a bitch just wants to bitch, and you are so entitled. You are right. They are in the wrong, boo. I will support your Delulu if you tell me to trust. So we're very excited about our new mini series, Ask-a-Frahnd, that will be continuous throughout season 2 and season 3. We will also be releasing the video episodes, and we actually have the video episodes edited on time this season, which crazy. They actually got it done. But we'll be releasing the video episodes on Patreon. By the time this episode airs, I guess.
Yeah.
This has already been doing this. So for those of y'all who haven't joined the Patreon yet, this is what's on the membership. I do forget we're recording ahead of time.
Yeah.
But we did all of these. We wanted to do exclusive wallpapers because, as some of y'all know, my illustration journey is very important to me and something that I want to make a career out of in the long term.
And they are super talented, so why not share with the world?
Christ and loved. Christ and cherished. Thanks, bestie. This has been a true passion project, and it's been really fun. So for us to have been able to release that Patreon and to do those things it was a long time coming. I'm glad it finally happened. I'm so proud of us for getting it done. I'm so proud of myself for uploading that video at fucking 3:30 a.m. so that if the first person who finally signs up for our Patreon will see all of the content. Like, this is going to
see all the unfiltered, unhinged, uncensored stuff.
Like, this is an exciting chapter for us to embark on, and I'm really grateful. And I'm really excited to see when this episode releases where we are in the Patreon journey, right? Like, how crazy is it going to be if by the time this episode releases, we already have a solid community and you guys are like, bitch, what are you talking about? We're already in the chat. We're already in the episode goss chat. Like, what are you talking about? So it's just us offering snail mail and like wanting to do little things. I feel like it really is a piece of us.
Yeah.
And that makes me proud because asking for money is hard. So
in this economy.
So I'm glad that I feel proud of what we're offering.
Yeah.
You know?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So it was definitely done with very much intention, very much lots of love.
Yeah.
And hopefully everyone appreciates all the hard work because they've put in so much hard work into this. And I appreciate it because, I mean, a lot of this stuff I personally cannot do because my talents are elsewhere in the podcast. And, so I'm very appreciative for everything that you do for us on the back end. All right. Well, my sprinkle of joy, so there's two, but I'll keep them very brief because a girl does have to head back home soon. But
Screaming. Yeah. Because we do have responsibilities.
But one, so excited that, our first episode of the season dropped. I mean, like you said, there's been a lot of work and prep, for this to get done. So super excited, super happy. And the fact that by this time this episode comes out, we have done a whole season is amazing. So, and the fact that I've also was able to book a couple of guests like on my own is something that I feel very proud of.
You should.
Because now networking hasn't always been a talent of mine. I am a very shy, coy person sometimes, and this is like around strangers. Obviously, once you get to know me, I'm not.
They're insane.
But they're a little cuckoo. But no, I do have a hard time speaking, especially with people I don't know, unless I'm in the comfort of company, whether it's you or other besties, then I am you can see a little bit of my personality, but sometimes I am terrified and shitting my pants when I'm having to talk to a person completely on my own and having to actually carry the conversation by myself. Yeah. So it is very terrifying. So again, and this is one of the reasons why we even started this podcast too, was for me to overcome that fear and actually be able to reveal my more authentic self over time, which I feel like I've grown a lot since the first season. So I'm very, very thankful. So yeah, the fact that we're even here is amazing, and I am super grateful. Thank you for picking me as your partner. Not gonna start. Secondly, I went to a comedy show with my husband over the weekend, and we went to see Nate Bargatze. And,
sure.
If you know him, you know him. If you know him, I don't know what to tell you. I didn't know about him until this. He got free tickets to a suite from his job, and it was amazing. It was a great first of all, it was hilarious as shit, especially being a comedian without being super vulgar or cursing.
Rare art these days.
Yeah,
rare art.
To me, I was like, how is that? Because a lot of the comedians that I've seen, especially on Netflix specials and stuff, they all curse or at least have vulgar jokes in there. So to me, it was a hard concept to wrap around. What does a comedian look like that does not curse or does not is not vulgar.
Yeah.
So I was thoroughly impressed. I was laughing my ass off, and I had a great time with my husband, and I think it was us finding those moments of connection throughout the week, even though this week was very anxiety ridden, but then again, one isn't a week for me anxiety ridden, but being able to have that emotional connection and support for each other, and just, especially with everything going on in the world, and having to navigate through this journey with our son,
I'm sure it's been hard.
It's been hard, but we've had to find and be intentional with moments of like, hey, let's go spend this day together, even if we have work, but we're at least working next to each other and spending some quality time. We'll go have lunch, like, let's put our laptops down, let's talk, let's laugh, like, let's enjoy good food. And that honestly, so we did that Friday, and then we did the comedy show on Saturday. So there was just like a lot of connection, which, filled my heart, because I needed that, especially after the type of week that we had. So it's just moments like that, that remind you, like, you know what? Marriage isn't so bad after all.
Oh yeah, that's why I married this fool. That's right. Sometimes
you need reminders of why you fell in love in the first place.
That's right. He kinda cool. He kinda chill. No, I hear that. I'm really glad you guys had a good time, friend. That's really nice.
Yeah.
Very well deserved. Y'all, thank you so much for joining us on this long-ass shit show of an episode. We definitely did not expect for this episode to be 2 hours. I did think it was going to be at least an hour and a half. 2 hours.
There's a lot of lore.
There's a lot of lore, yeah. And that's just the shit that we revealed freely in this episode.
Honestly, there's so much more, but
join the Patreon and ask. We'll tell you more.
Buy me a few drinks. You might just hear me somewhere else talking about this.
Yeah, you can. I will trauma dump on you. Pay me. I'll trauma dump. We'll do all the things. Thank you guys so much for joining us on the last episode of our season. Which, again, crazy that we're filming the last episode of our season on the day that our first episode of the season released, but super fun, and I love this for us. Acknowledging our experiences that we had growing up and how they shaped us can be very hard, and we joke a lot, but this is very difficult, and it looks very different for different people. But it's acknowledging these things is such a good first step in your personal growth journey. It's such a good first step into self-love. So what are your thoughts? Tell us, please, how are you navigating your relationship with your parents? Has it gotten any better? Have you chosen to take the hard step back, or have you chosen to take the hard step into accepting them as they are, and what they can give you instead of for who you wish they were? Which hard step did you take? Because either way, boo, it's either way it sucks.
Let's be real.
But let us know on Instagram, YouTube, or any of the other socials that are going to be in the episode description. Full episodes do drop on YouTube the week after the podcast airs. Or you can be a baddie and join our Patreon, and then you can see all of season 3 as soon as it's released, the day it's released, and not have to wait. So make sure you check us out over on Patreon.
30, Flirty, and Trying is an individually produced podcast, so if you love this episode, please leave us a review. It really helps us grow and keeps making space for real combos like this. And remember to be kind, because we're sensy.
But if you're gonna judge us, do it in the comments, but we need that interaction.
Yes. We
cannot wait to connect with you.
See you next episode.
See you next season.
See you next season.
Dun dun. I just love your monotone voice as you're like, this is going to be great, and we're going to do such a good job. I'm like, yes, Noelle, enthusiasm. Hi, friend. Oh, no. Jesus. Sorry. We're never going to get it again.
afraid to like press it down.
No, at this point, I think we just spray a little shout. Okay, we're fixing to take it to church. You got this, boo.
I'm tired.
You got this. That's too damn bad. You keep talking.